Hey everyone, it's Bree with HD Career Consulting and myhdcareer.com. And today I want to piggyback on the conversation I have started over on LinkedIn. I've also shared it on my Facebook page at MyHD Career about value. Okay? And part of what contributes to our concept of value has to do with this conversation of not enough. Okay? And the truth of the matter is that, like I was saying yesterday, value is in the eye of the beholder. I can quickly love something and then later fall out of love with something, originally having value for it and then no longer having value for it for a myriad of reasons. And so the tricky thing about not enough is it's a moving target. It's a thing that crops up due to a series of experiences, maybe life changes, circumstances, that all of a sudden takes something that was completely enough and turns it into not enough. Okay? And this is true when we are experiencing the onset of career change, right? It's like the early beginning stages. We start to have these moments of like, that's not enough, right? That work that you're having me do is so not worth the money that you're making me do it for. That's not enough for me, right? The time that it costs for me to do X in my work, it's not enough for me. All of a sudden, a commute that you had been doing for years that had no problem doing, all of a sudden is a problem and it's not worth it, right? That's a value statement. That's a values disconnect. You go from valuing it to not valuing it, okay? And therefore, you're not willing to invest in it. And not enough, we hear this a lot in mindset coaching. I call it the not enough monster. There's this not enough monster dialogue that happens inside of our head that has to do with our own security and who we are and our identity and how that presents to others and whether or not we are secure or insecure in our abilities, capabilities, and who we are as a person. Not enough monster that is super hungry and it has no interest in helping us succeed. It wants to keep us in place and it wants to reinforce any deficit or defect that we have to validate that we're not enough. So there's that piece. But there's this other phenomenon that happens when we are getting ready to possibly thrust ourselves into career change. Now, sometimes when it comes to career change, we're forced to do it, which triggers the first not enough monster, like the internal not enough monster. And then once we work through all of that kind of stuff, then we start to think about the way we do work and the work that we did differently. And we start to have this next battle, which is this not enough. That's not enough for me to do that. That's an external battle of not enough, okay? Not enough money, not enough time, not enough resources, not enough, okay? And the challenging thing for it is that because of the way we are initially taught how to do job search, we think about it in usually a linear vertical way, okay? We pick a career and it has a clear beginning and end, an entry point and an end point. And the entry point is beginner, the end point is expert, and it's funny because it's just not how that works, okay? And for me, what I've learned and what I've learned working with clients is that when I start hearing things of like, it's not enough, like we're prospecting positions, we're trying to create a profile, and I keep hearing things, well, it's not enough. That doesn't work. They want me to do all these skills, all these things for this kind of pay. I've just seen it in 2 posts. I posted about value and understanding that value is in the eye of the beholder. And the first thing we think of is money in exchange for skills and how it's, in this person's perspective, is, the value of it, right? And the challenge is that value is not the same, like it's a different construct in relation to actual money. And if you look at the examples in the post, and I can link it in this below, money literally is not correlated to value. It is in the eye of the beholder. People do things for a whole lot less and are perfectly happy doing it. Early on when I first started, I had a client. I was working through a state agency, and I had a client. This woman lives on $800 a month. She has everything that she needs. We're talking about how she's going to be able to pay for some supplies to be able to help her become a 1099 contractor. And she has $20 to spare. And there was a phone bill that she got that was going to put her back, and she was going to have to use $5 of that $20 to pay the bill. For me, I would be losing my mind. The $800 a month that she was making was enough for her. She had a house, she had her bills paid, she had the limited spending cash that she needed, she found other ways to entertain herself. It was enough. And so when she was talking about work, you would think that she would be like, Bree, I need to find a job that's like living wages here in Colorado. That's like $75,000 for a single household. So I didn't even care. Okay? Because the situation that she had worked out and what she had done to build her retirement, to be in retirement, okay, $800 a month did the job. She figured it out because it was enough, because it gave her the quality of life that it is that she needed. Okay. I have worked with with the opposite. I have worked with professionals that make way over six figures, and they struggle to find that to be enough. But it's not enough for different reasons. It's not enough because it consumes so much time. It's not enough because the risk is too high. And so then they leave six-figure positions because and take something that's like $250,000 a year instead of something that makes them $350,000 a year because it's too much. It's not enough. The cost value exchange is not enough for them. Okay, so. Not enough is an alarm. Okay. There's, yes, the stuff that goes on in our head. We can talk about that in a different post. But there's the external alarm of when you're looking at something and it is not enough. There's a reason for it. Do not ignore it. You are the creator of your own universe. You are the one that gets to set what makes sense for you. And what I would say to you with love and care is stop asking others to validate why you're not enough is okay or not okay or okay, right? Because if you don't want to make the 1.5 hour drive, that was me when I was getting ready to transition. Before I got here, I was looking at vertical promotion, and I was going to have to drive 1.5 hours to go to work. And then I'd also have to have another hour to pick up kids. So that's 2.5 hours in the morning and 2.5 hours in the back end. And then you can almost bet I was going to have a 10-hour day, which put me at 15 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I was like, nope. There's not enough title, prestige, research opportunity, customer facing, anything that was going to change my interest in finding that worth. I also know people who have way more responsibilities than I do when it comes to family, are way more engaged and way more involved in community and civic engagement, and they commute anyway. Why? Because it's enough for them. So not enough is on a spectrum. And again, not enough, just like value is a manifestation of, it really is a manifestation of value, right? It's the way that we alert to say what we actually value. And so that's why value is not attached to money. Value is attached to the things that enrich our lives and have meaning, that make meaning, that help us feel good. And sometimes money plays a factor in that, but I can almost guarantee, in fact, I bet on it, that if you come across an opportunity that pays a certain amount, depending on what your needs are, you are going to demand more time for your money or more money for your time versus a scenario where you are passionately engaged about it. You are going to take less. There's research on it. Look it up. I posted an article in it in the values post that I did yesterday. But we do that. We do that as creatures. Why? Because the number one reason that drives us to do work is knowing that we're going to get access to meaningful work. The one thing that makes us unhappy at work Well, not the one thing, but one of the main things that make us unhappy, my pencil, I'm getting all serious with my pencil. I'll set it down. It's a little kind of, anyways. But the one thing, one of the main things that keep us at work is knowing that we're doing meaningful work. It's also the thing that when we lose it, it's the thing that makes us leave. It's the thing that makes us go, I'm not getting paid enough to do that. Okay. Now, with that said, money and value, there's a conversation about negotiating. And yes, you do need to assert your value and assert your worth. That's what the post was about yesterday. There's some comments in there about pay bands and that kind of thing and how we negotiate that. You need to be able to do that too. But just know that not enough is an alarm. And if you're struggling with not enough in your current work or in your job prospecting that you're doing right now, here's 3 ways to look at it to evaluate whether or not you're where you need to be right now for what it is that you need. And there's 3 ways to go. This is how we look at it. 3 ways to go when we're first starting. You can go up, over, or out. Those are your 3 options. Okay? Don't confuse them. Just work them like work the problem. Can I go up? What does that look like for me? Is it enough for me? Can I go out or not out? Can I go sideways, into a tertiary or tangential position? Will that be enough? I know that that's what I did. I went from going up to, I'll just go out and I'll go back to a PhD until I was like, that's not going to be enough either. So a process of elimination, I was going to go up, decided I didn't want to leave where I was at because of all the needs I had for my family demands. And then I ended up going into a position, another specialist position in a different department, build skills, develop experiences, discover whether or not that was a new field I wanted to be in because I wasn't going to make the money that I wanted to make in my current field in the position level that I was at. If you have questions about that, comment below. I'll have a bigger conversation about that. But the industry that I was working in, the second round, just at an entry level, paid higher. And that was one of my requirements. I needed to make more money. And so I moved into that position to make more money. And lo and behold, I'm in an entry level position. I'm making more money. I met my needs until it wasn't enough anymore. And then the opportunity presented itself and I moved myself out. In my case, I moved myself out as a 1099 contractor, started my own company, and now I'm doing this. Okay. That's enough for me. It works. Okay. What I do is not enough for everybody. It doesn't work for everybody and it shouldn't. Okay. You have to decide what comes beyond the not enough, and the not enough is the alarm. Okay. So if you're trying to work through why something is not enough, consider evaluating it by looking at going up, going over, or going out. Hello, this is my daughter.
My tie-dye shirt.
Yeah, your tie-dye shirt is great. This is also another reason why what I was doing was not enough. I needed to be able to be present in some capacity better than the way I was doing it while I was working full time. And so that was one of my criteria, is I had to find something that was going to be flexible and allow me to be the best parent I could be, but also grow and enrich and still participate in the collegial aspect of my career. And so whatever the reasons, use those to evaluate up, out, or over. Okay. And I think that is all. If I have a next follow-up, I'll post it in the comments. But what I would like to have happen next is if you have ever wrestled, I know what it was. The other part of not enough is so there's the process of external elimination of not enough, up, out, or over. But there's also, is the not enough your mindset, like in your head? Is it something about your sense of self-worth? I'm not enough, this is not enough, I'm never going to be enough, whatever the case is, because that also might be something you need to sort out. But know that not enough is an alarm. It's an opportunity for you to explore your options and either validate that you're perfectly fine where you're at or confirm. Man, I'm having all kinds of visitors today. I've got Rocky over here and my daughter. Anyways, to validate and confirm whether or not where you need to be is right where you are at is where you need to be. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, you have to decide, because if you live in the what ifs and the should and the could haves and maybe this and maybe that, you are probably already driving yourself crazy. And so it's not worth it. Okay. Decide and then be okay with what is enough. It does not matter that somebody else thinks that what you're doing is enough. Okay. And it should work. I've had those conversations. I've experienced them. And it didn't matter how much people told me, oh, Bree, you're working at a university. You have great benefits. You have vacation. I could take vacation when I was working at the university literally every day for several months. Not every day, once a week for several months. And, you know, I had tons of time off. My husband's like, man, do you ever go to work? Because you have between, you know, sick days and kids and vacations, you're always off, it seems like. And some people look at that and they're like, oh my gosh, that's the Holy Grail. It's also part of the reason what kept me there for so long is because it balanced out some of the things I needed. But at the end of the day, like legitimately there at some point there was just not enough vacation, not enough benefits, not enough anything that was going to keep me doing what it was that I was doing, and so unhappy doing it, if that makes sense. And so if you're having not enough alarms and you've been running around trying to externally validate whether or not you should or shouldn't, talking about the rightness or wrongness in your experience of not enough, let me just do, like, my advice, my ask for you is to stop. Don't do that to yourself. You decide. It's your experience, it's your opportunity, it's your life, and it's your happiness and health on the line. And you need to be the one to decide whether or not it's enough. And it does not matter what anybody else has to say about it. Because if it's not enough, then you get to be released from the experience of suffering because it's not enough, to look at other things that will be enough. Okay? If you go back, okay, so basically that's it. Okay, so that was my full circle. All right. And so back to my closing. I want to have a bigger conversation about this. If you have questions, I'd love to answer them below. Please like, share, and comment. My big ask for today is to hop onto my LinkedIn page, my Facebook page. So LinkedIn, Bree-DeForest, HD Career Consulting is my company page, as well as my Facebook page, which is at my HD Career. Like, share, tag somebody in this message who needs to know it. And particularly if you are watching this and you're like, oh my gosh, I've tried this. I'm trying to figure this out and I'm struggling to figure it out. Hit me up. I'm working on some programs that may be a benefit to you. But I really like to make sure that what I'm doing is going to really hit home for people. And so we can have a deeper conversation and I can share more information later. So send me a message. Talk to you soon. I hope you rock the hell out of Work Happy because you deserve it, and have a great day.